we talk about my involvement from 2009 on, and how every year we're trying to get more and more football players involved and bringing them in, and that hasn't stopped. A great example is Lawson Lucky. Lawson has a sibling who has disabilities, and for him to be able to see ESP and everything, and to see that there's a place for his brother to go to and be a part of, if they do move to Athens, is I think really special. So I think this, for me, to see the next generation of student athlete continuing to get exposed to the kids at ESP is always my main goal.
Hey there. It is so good to see you. If you're listening, we are so glad that you're here. I am so excited about today's conversation. Someone who has been a friend, a champion, a true member of the ESP family, a dear friend of mine and my family. You may know him as record-setting quarterback at UGA, go Dogs, or from his work on ESPN. But to us, he's just simply Aaron, someone who shows up with heart and makes a real difference here at ESP. Aaron, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So let's kick things off with how this all began, which is going to be really fun for you and I to kind of reminisce and rewind. How did you...
Before all the grays.
Before the grays. Yes, I've
in.
got them too. Before the children,
Yes.
which we both have now.
Yes.
How did you first get connected to ESP?
So I was fortunate enough, even this is prior to my time at Georgia, this goes back to high school. My high school actually had a program where we had an opportunity as students to work with kids with a variety of abilities or disabilities, however you want to say it, and really became comfortable. And I think that's the biggest thing of not from a distance. You're like, oh, I don't know how to approach these kids. I don't know how to interact with certain individuals or people. Yes. And like I said, very fortunate early on to be able to go to a variety of camps. To be able to interact with these individuals day in and day out at my high school, and just fell in love with kids of all abilities. So I knew as soon as I got to Georgia and got to Athens, like I wanted to find a place similar, or an organization or a group that has much love that I experienced back in high school. And I remember it was the first summer Mike Bobo, our offensive coordinator, scheduled a lunch. I think it was a lunch. And ESP was out there. And I said, this is incredible. Like, my first summer in Athens, something that I'm passionate about kind of just fell into my lap. And, my brother and I went up and I believe talked to you, got to know you, learned about the mission. And pretty much from there, it's like, hey, we're in. How can we help you? And 15 big hearts later, and a bunch of golf tournaments and other events. I mean, we have, as you know, as a family, fully committed to everything ESP is all about.
So cool. And I just want to put an exclamation point on something that you mentioned. Interacting with people with disabilities is uncomfortable. Yep. But if you can learn it at a young age, how it rewires your brain and then sets you up to look for opportunities, so that when you were introduced to ESP, you were like, I want more of that. So did your parents tell you had to volunteer with this group? Like, how in high school, I know there are parents out there that are saying, like, I want my kids to learn how to engage with people with disabilities. As a parent, how do I do that? How do I get my kids to feel comfortable?
Google ESP. That's perfect.
There you go. Yes.
It started off my high school coach. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the camp we'd go to. But I mean, this was back in 2006.
Yeah, in Florida.
In Florida. Yeah. And we would go to a week-long camp. This is when I was at a Jesuit high school. Then when I transferred to Plant, that's when Plant actually had the programs in the high school. But like I said, even got introduced back in my freshman year, where we would spend a week with the kids in cabins. Was a lot of fun. And the somewhat of, I guess the word humbling comes to mind a little bit, of seeing the struggles of just going to the bathroom, of taking a shower. And that was part of our role as counselors. I mean, the parents weren't there. It was just us. So we're having to, I'm a 14-year-old kid, has never really been around kids with any sort of disabilities, and I'm helping them bathe. I'm helping them get in and out of their wheelchairs. I'm helping them use the restroom. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like you take for granted the little things in your life that you don't think about. I don't think about going to the bathroom. I don't think about difficulties of taking a shower. Heck, I take 2 showers a day sometimes.
Yes.
Because it's easy.
Probably
It's in and out. And I do need it. I'm very sweaty. So you're just like, my goodness. And then just the love, the appreciation, you know it. That's why you've been doing it as long as you have. It's infectious. You just want more of it. It's almost selfish now at this point of the high I got during that camp, being around those kids and continue to being around the kids at VSP. And you bring up a good point about getting around it early on. And I told you before the show, I'll be bringing Maddox this next Friday to start coming to Friends Friday all summer long, to get him at the age of 5 exposed, being around the kids, having fun, and learning what it means to be grateful for your abilities and also to see the abilities in others.
I love that. And I love, just that it's almost selfish now because you know what it brings to you and to your family. And, I like to call that the joy exchange around here. It's like you come and you think that you're coming to give, and you are.
Oh, yeah.
You're activating the abilities that you had as a 14-year-old kid in the cabin, helping another kid shower, but then it boomeranged back.
Yeah.
Like it was reciprocal and there was something that you received. And I think
There's nothing wrong with feeling that way either. I feel like that's a struggle. That was a struggle for me at first. It's like, I'm feeling selfish because I'm really enjoying it a little bit. It's a weird feeling, but it is. It means a lot in my heart. And like I said, I walk away just so filled with kind of my purpose, finding my purpose. And part of that is being with these kids.
So good. And I think a lot of people do feel guilty for giving. And I think here, one of the things I love is, don't our people with disabilities deserve the opportunity to fill others too?
Yep.
I think we all want to find our purpose. And that kind of idea of this exchange means that people with and without disabilities have purpose in serving one another. And it's really about those relationships. So what, other than that, keeps bringing you back? Like now you work full time, you're in Atlanta, you drive over here to Athens for a board meeting, you're putting on a golf tournament, you come back to Big Hearts. Like, why do you keep saying yes time and time again?
The mission's incredible. And I think once you believe in something and you see the growth, and you and I feel like every year we joke when we get to the Big Hearts, whether it's the actual talent show or the gala afterwards the following week, back, when it started over a decade ago, we'd be lucky to have a couple hundred people there.
Yes.
And every year to see more and more people there. Now, was it 1,500, 1,700 people showed up to this past year's gala, the amount of money raised, and to know what that's going to and how many more kids that we can serve. And we just had our board meeting not too long ago, and we talked about how many kids every year that ESP is serving. And it's more and more. It's not just Athens, it's Savannah, it's Rome, it's now moving to hopefully to different states. So I think the reason why I'm continue to come back and my family continues to serve is knowing that it's still far from being where it needs to be.
Yes.
Like it is far from that. There are so many individuals, not only obviously in our state, not only just in Athens, that maybe even heard about ESP yet, or maybe haven't fully experienced it, that need to.
Yes.
And it goes back to, we talked about a little before, the selfishness part of it too, in the sense of it's not just the kids, it's the parents. Yes. And as a parent, you and I know this now, there's nothing wrong with being a little selfish and needing some time off. I have this struggle with my wife sometimes too. I'm like, I know she's had a long week. Maybe I just got done with the season. I'm traveling a lot. I'm like, Sharon, let me take the kids to my parents' house for 2 nights. Just let you relax. She's like, no. Like, I don't need that. I feel like a bad mom. Like, you can be selfish and ask for some time off.
Yes.
So it's supporting the kids and more kids, but it's also supporting parents who have been doing it for decades that need 5 days just to like be to themselves a little bit too.
Some of them have never been able to
ever
have time off. And that's one of my favorite things about our overnight camp is just, I think a lot of us as parents, whether you're a special needs parent or not, you feel like it's your burden to bear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you have kids with special needs, it's an extra burden that you don't want to put on anyone else. And I remember a mom saying, like, this is my burden to bear, not yours. And I said, it's not a burden.
No.
To us, it's a blessing to be able to serve you. And she let her daughter come to overnight camp reluctantly. And on Friday, she picked her daughter up. I mean, weeping. She was like, I didn't even know I needed to sleep in.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I needed to go get my nails done. Like, I didn't know that I just needed time to myself. And so, yeah, it's pretty amazing as we've grown up, literally, and had our own families, how the ESP mission has become more important because we have a different perspective.
Very different perspective. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I always text my wife, like a day in, because she's always reluctant, but she eventually lets me take the kids for a couple of days. And
yes.
I love the word used, blessing, because that's what my mom uses all the time. She goes, it's not us taking care of our grandkids, it's a blessing for us. The fact that we're grandparents and get to help you two out is a blessing for us. But I always text Sharon like a day, and she goes, how you doing? She goes, oh my gosh, sleeping until like 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, not even sleeping in. She goes, I still woke up at 6:30 because I'm so used to it. But like, just to lay in bed for 2 hours and not have to. And like I said, we have two very healthy kids that, heck, could probably turn on the TV and watch TV if they wanted to. But for those parents who have to get up and it's grind mode, it's a job, 24/7, 365. It's amazing to give them that opportunity just to take a breather.
So we have launched this SEEABILITY brand, and it's been really cool. We're going to have it as a part of the golf tournament. And, I always think about people like me or you that don't have direct individuals with disabilities in our families, but how our abilities have been able to come alive through this mission. So how has ESP helped you see the ability in yourself?
Yeah, I would say the ability to use what I have to help others. I think that's my biggest thing is, I always thought of myself as just like a football player. And maybe it's because like I played football in the state of Florida growing up. So football is not like that big of a deal. And then you get to the South and you realize that like what I do on Saturday afternoons
matters,
affects millions of people in the state. And the impact that what my ability to throw a football can do to a kid at ESP, to a high school kid, a mom, a dad, whatever it may be. I mean, good example is the LSU game back in 2013. Probably the most fun I've ever had playing football. Incredible game, big time matchup. We had Todd Gurley, we had Malcolm Mitchell, they had Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry.
Yes.
I mean, it was flooded with NFL talent. And it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, we went down and won the game at the very end. Just incredible afternoon. And I remember we went to the locker room and Bobo came down from the press box. He's like, hey, the fans are still out there. The game's been over 20 minutes. We went out there. There's not a single empty seat in the stadium. 20, 30 minutes after the game, we ran around. Anyways, I say that to say, I talked to people that I've become close with since then. And they said that experience with me and my dad is something that I'll never forget. Wow. Like that day was so special for us. Like to understand like my ability to just like throw a piece of pigskin, throw it a football, what it can do to help others, to give them joy, to bring them opportunities to be with their loved ones, whatever it may be. So I think for me, like those abilities I thought were cool maybe in high school, I never thought would bring joy or even bring opportunities to help grow a company and organization like ESP to the level that we're at today.
Yes. And I do really look at like the growth chart of ESP and the time that you and Josh got involved and just the awareness. I mean, we heard it from one of our board members today. Like he knew about ESP first because of our relationship with the football team and our relationship with you. And so it brings just a level of awareness that most people don't have. And I want to bring us back because I think most people don't know this story. And it's my favorite story about you. And I can't remember the year, you will remember, but it was Georgia Auburn. Mm-hmm. And we had planned to do something with you on Sunday. What year was it?
That was 2013.
Okay. Same year as the LSU game. So 2013. And tell us about the game. Like, what happened in the game? I know I'm going to bring this all back up.
That's why I start off with a positive memory first of football field before the negative. So we went to Auburn that year, and we were getting our butts kicked. I mean, it was so bad that I remember my parents, they told me after the game, but told my sister heading into the fourth quarter that she should probably just hit the road to head back to Athens because she was driving back. So we're down 20 points. Georgia, in all of Georgia's history of football, has never come back from a greater than 20-point deficit ever. And we found a way to climb back and climb back and climb back and climb back. And it got to the point where we're down 6 points, whatever it was. I mean, we're down by less than a touchdown at that point. And 4th down and 5, I ran it in, got knocked around a bunch. Very controversial call that Auburn fans still to this day swear that I didn't get in.
Yep.
But the ref's like, you know what? We'd have enough evidence to not say you weren't in. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm in. So we thought we won. I mean, we thought we had the greatest comeback in Georgia history. 4th down and 10. Auburn has the ball, maybe longer than 4th and 10. And Nick Marshall, who used to be on Georgia, the quarterback for Auburn, steps back, launches the ball down the field, essentially a Hail Mary, a 1 in 1,000th chance of completing it. 2 of our defenders, either of them could have caught the ball or knocked it down, ran into each other, bounced off one of their helmets into a receiver's hands who wasn't even looking, turned around and caught it, and then walked into the end zone for a touchdown. One of the flukiest plays of all time that I've ever seen.
Wild.
So you always are like losing to your rival.
At their home
in that fashion after just an emotional fourth quarter comeback.
Yes. That you had led as the quarterback.
Yes.
You had led your team to this amazing comeback. And I mean, immediately, Twitter at the time, things went wild that night. And I'm sitting there on Facebook and all the things watching this because you had committed to meeting us at the practice field the next morning to take photos because we were launching a campaign for this new building that we're sitting in. And I just remember watching all of that. And I mean, there were some, obviously you were used to this, but some nasty things that people said about you. And I mean, I was all like Sister Bear in there. Like, how dare you? But I was thinking to myself, like, there's no way he's going to come tomorrow. And so I will never forget. It was Saturday night, like 10 o'clock. We had just lost this epic game. And I text you and I just said, hey, it's fine for tomorrow. We can reschedule. And you clearly were on the bus back because you had your phone. And I saw the bubbles pop up that you were responding. And you were like, no, I'll be there. Yeah. And like you walked in that next morning, I think it was like 9 a.m. After being on the bus and losing this game. And we had 5 or 6 participants there, and you walk in, and Hannah is there. And you look at Hannah, and I'll never forget. You were like, Hannah, you got your hair done. And I was like, here's this guy who just lost this epic game, who had every reason in the world to cancel, to hang out with a bunch of special needs individuals on Sunday morning, and yet they didn't care that you lost the game.
No.
Like, you were a celebrity to them. And not only that, but you noticed that Hannah got her hair done. Why? Like, why did you say yes? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember it. It goes to being committed to ESP and everything that we wanted to accomplish and being a part of it. And, you know, I wasn't just an outsider at that point. Like, ESP was part of my family. I think that's the big thing is, like, you know, once you get involved with ESP, you're not just a donor. You're not just someone who comes to the gala or comes to Big Hearts or, you know, comes out to a celebrity golf tournament to help raise funds. Like, you're part of the family. So, like, for me in down times after a loss, you know, I want to be with my family, and ESP is part of my family. So, like, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier, like, the selfishness is like, I needed a pickup. Like, to go through that emotional roller coaster for 3.5 hours against one of our biggest rivals and to lose the way we did, like, I needed to be around people that I love, people that love me.
You.
And And ESP is part of that.
And that is what our participants give is unconditional
Oh, it's
love.
unbelievable the love you get.
Could care less what type of leadership you had on the field or what throw or what pass or what call. They loved you for you. And I think what's so cool is Hannah, who loves you dearly and has from the very beginning.
It's always a fight between Josh and I.
Right. She was at your wedding and a part of your wedding. So years later, when you found the love of your life, it's like that. Speaking of Hannah being family, I mean, she was there and a part of your wedding.
The first time
later.
Sharon, my wife, ever met my parents, this was 3 or 4 weeks after we started dating. So very early on, still have no idea. And it was Big Hearts. So I was like, let's throw her to the wolves. Let's see how she does.
That was the first time she met your parents?
First time she met my parents.
What? And Lauren Murray at Big Hearts.
Oh, yeah. And obviously the first time and I want to see how she was around the kids too.
Yes.
Because ESP is part of my family, like we just talked about. So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. Because Mom was like, you sure you want to bring her? It's kind of our thing. I was like, I really like this girl. I know it's so early on, but hey, let's see how she handles it. Because I need someone in my life that can be with my loved ones.
Yes.
And she loved it. She embraced it. She was dancing with the kids on the dance floor afterwards. And I was like, all right, she passed this test. She passed this test at least.
She passed the ESP smell test.
She passed the ESP smell test.
And she's been all in ever since, which is super, super cool. So let's talk about the golf tournament because it's coming up. We're sold out. It's something
oversold.
Oversold, as we shared today. So we'll have the golf tournament. We're going to launch a new collection, the golf collection, all for ability. What are you hoping that people see from the golf tournament? What are you hoping that they do with SEEABILITY after the golf tournament if they don't have a chance to come to the golf tournament because it's oversold?
Well, I think the number one thing it's always been is Athens is such a great community. Love the city, love the people. It's just been amazing how they've taken me in since I moved up from Florida back in 2008. But the football team is the center of it. I mean, Georgia football is the center and heart and soul of Athens and probably one of the biggest things in the state of Georgia. So we talk about my involvement from 2009 on and how every year we're trying to get more and more football players involved and bringing them in and that hasn't stopped. A great example is Lawson Lucky. Lawson has a sibling who has disabilities, and for him to be able to see ESP and everything, and to see that there's a place for his brother to go to and be a part of, if they do move to Athens, is I think really special. So I think this, for me, to see the next generation of student athlete continuing to get exposed to the kids at ESP is always my main goal, because I know how much attention that brings. For a Georgia football player to post a picture with Java Joy or with a SEEABILITY shirt on, and for them to get hundreds of thousands of millions of views is impactful. So I think I want to continue to obviously share ESP with the football players. I think Kirby does a great job of bringing ESP out for practices, and he'll show up every now and then to the golf tournament if he's not out recruiting some 5-star on staying busy as he always is. But that's always a great thing. But for people that don't know ESP, obviously we try and get the lore of current football players, former football players, and once we get them in, it's a done deal.
Yes,
it's a done deal. So the amount of people from Big Hearts that say, "Oh my God, what an experience!" This is not to that scale, but we get a lot of people that have never been a part of ESP that walk away saying, "How can I do more?"
And that's the thing that I love is your legacy is living on as you breathe into these next generation of players. And I think, yes, it's great for ESP, but also, as you know and have shared today, it's good for them.
Yeah.
It shifts their perspectives to realize they're an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
They're an incredible athlete, and what they have an opportunity to give and to receive family like you have. Well, thank you for being here today, and thank you for being willing to just reminisce a little bit and go back, but also to just to be excited about the future. We have a lot to do. We have more ESPs to build. We have more Java Joy to grow. We have a camp that we want to build one day, which we're going to build. So I have one last question for you, and I ask this for every guest that's on the podcast. What is one thing that you have never seen, but you wish you could see in this world?
This is something I brought up in a board meeting, I think a year ago, when we talked about expansion.
Okay.
And it goes back to our Athens model and how successful Athens is because of the football team, because of the community, and the ability to drive eyeballs because of the football players. And we did that before social media was really big.
Yes.
I mean, when we were going first with me and you, like me helping out,
yeah.
I don't think there was Instagram. There wasn't TikTok. There might have been Twitter, but I don't think there was pictures involved. So like, it was harder to even get the word out then. Obviously, significantly easier now. So to answer your question, my goal is and will be as ESP continues to grow and expand, outside of the state of Georgia, and something that I've never seen that I would want to see is an ESP in every SEC campus.
Come on.
Because I just think the model works so well. It's proven. I mean, Athens, we've proved the model. I think every one of these SEC schools, obviously there's huge fans of the university. There's obviously a lot of money that go along with these universities, and a lot of great people that want to find a great cause to give back to. And I just think, as we've talked about during this whole conversation, when you get around kids with all variety of abilities and disabilities, I've never met a single person, and we've met thousands and thousands that have walked away saying, one, that they did not enjoy the experience, and two, that they, how can I find another way to get involved?
Yes.
So, like I said, I love the model, and I think it could work out at 15 other SEC towns across.
Let the SEC lead.
Yes,
UGA,
the SEC, just like in football, let them lead. So
Let
that's something I've never seen and would love to see.
That would be
even
awesome.
At Auburn, even in Gainesville.
Okay. We'll go across the lines.
Yeah, we'll go across the lines.
But I'm imagining an ESP shirt in the Auburn orange, or in the Tennessee orange, or whatever.
Having a big tailgate before every game with all as long as there's no fighting between the kids, we'll be fine.
But also, what an opportunity to galvanize two schools for a common purpose.
Yes.
And as you said, it's great for ESP and for people of all abilities, but it's also really great for the culture of these football teams and for the opportunity for these football players to engage and learn resilience and love and unconditional love like you have. I love that. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. Who knows? We'll look ahead in 5 or 10 years from now, and Aaron's vision for a ESP in all SEC schools will have come to fruition. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, Aaron, for joining me today. Thank you for just who you are and what you do. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of this SEEABILITY journey. At ESP, we dream of a world that sees you the way your dog sees you, with unconditional love and belief and potential. So let's carry that vision with us today. Go out and see the ability in someone. Most of all, see the ability in yourself. You'll be amazed to see what happens next.